Well, she's one of Rochester's most in-demand event planners, and her latest venture is contributing to the vibrant transformation of Rochester's Center City. Athi Georgiou is the owner of the Arbor Loft on Pitkin Street, as well as Agathi and Company. She's a next-generation urban business leader in Rochester, and we're happy to have her on the show today. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So, Athi, can you share a little bit about your background? Did you always aspire to be an entrepreneur?
You know what? Back in the day when I finished my bachelor's degree in fashion, I never expected to own my own business. I thought I wanted to get into the fashion industry and move to New York, and it was actually kind of, I stumbled upon a job in Buffalo that kind of stumbled me in another direction, and then here we are all of these years later. Now I own a business. So it wasn't what I intended to do, but I can't think of anything other than owning a business now. I can't imagine doing anything else.
How did your experience before prepare you for what you're doing now?
The experience before just kind of helped develop the skills I already had. So I went to school for fashion, and then I went back to school and got my master's in communications. And after I graduated, I realized that owning a business was ultimately what I wanted to do. Yeah.
So tell us about the Arbor Loft.
So the Arbor Loft is an event space in downtown Rochester. It's located on 17 Pitkin Street, which is above Hart's Local Grocers. And it is 5,400 square feet of space. It's in the capacities, we can have more than 300 people there. So it's quite large. We're comparing our numbers to what the convention centers can do and the big hotels. So we're smack in the middle of downtown's East End, and we're thrilled to be in the middle of it all, especially with the inner loop getting developed. We're kind of on the cusp of really the huge development that's happening in downtown Rochester.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
How do you think your venue is different from other venues?
Well, I had a goal when I opened up the Arbor Loft. I wanted it to be industrial with a hint of rustic and charm and warmth, because the industrial look will go out of style eventually. So I really wanted to keep it young and fresh. So I have wood floors and white walls, and it gives that feeling of a blank canvas. So for a corporate event, a charity event, or more specifically even for weddings, our brides and grooms can really come in and feel like they can, Pinterest and DIY the heck out of the place and make it their own. And I love that feeling of someone being able to come in and be creative. Yeah.
And do you work with them when, they have a vision? Do you help them execute that? Or you're also a designer?
Yeah, I do a little bit of both. So they can hire me for my event planning services as well, because before the Arbor Loft, as you mentioned, I own Agathi & Co., which is a full service event planning company. So in planning events for a living, I can give them guidance into vendors that I use, event design, execution, setup and breakdown. I can give them kind of the whole spiel on how it all works, and then I can actually execute it for them if they'd like.
And you have planned some very big events in Rochester. Tell us about some of the things that you've done and that you're still doing.
I'm kind of known as the event planner in town that implements more of the crazier events. So I am the official event planner for Greentopia, located in the High Falls district. I plan their dinner on the bridge every year.
Beautiful event.
It's a very big event and very tough to logistically plan, but the execution is the most rewarding, I think. I also used to be a part event planner for the Fringe Festival. I didn't do it this year because obviously things were getting a little too busy, but was happy to work with Fringe for the last 3 years. And I've done things for the Lilac Festival. I've worked with a lot of local corporate organizations, and I did more things on the corporate fundraising side before I jumped into weddings.
And you're a big supporter of women-owned businesses and have some events that really help other women grow their brand. Tell us about what you do to help women.
In the last few years, I started creating my own series of events. I was getting a little sick of being a hired by other companies to help implement their events. So I started executing an event called the Femme Women's Expo. It's in Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse. And the whole purpose ultimately is to raise awareness of just women in business and shopping locally. So it's geared towards women and having vendors come to one space so that guests can see things in the realm of health, wellness, beauty, fashion, and everything in between.
Sure. So what were some of the challenges that you faced in building your brand and in your expansion?
I think that being a woman in business in Rochester or anywhere is really tough, because also when you're a young woman in business, sometimes you may not be taken so seriously. So I've gotten that quite a bit. And also owning a business in downtown Rochester and being able to keep up with it. I was always told when I started my company that once you hit the 5-year mark, you're good. You're in a good place. So I just hit my 5.5-year mark.
Congratulations.
And thank you. So I feel like I'm over that hump, but it was tough to get up there because of all the trials and tribulations of just owning a business, hiring staff, being accountable for all the things.
Sure.
And now having the Arbor Loft has really kind of put me on the next level of being a woman entrepreneur, trying to dominate the market in Rochester, and just at the end of the day, just trying to make it in Rochester and own a business and enjoy life. Because it's not always about career, it's about personal life as well.
Absolutely. So you're also very connected with other entrepreneurs in downtown. Can you talk about the importance of networking to your success?
Absolutely. I think one of the big secrets in owning a business in Rochester is networking, and going to those networking events and meeting people and going out there and showing your face, because you have the option in the afternoons to either go home or to go to that networking event and meet new people and maybe develop more relationships. So some of the women in Rochester that I've built relationships with, I mean, I could tell you off the top of my head, someone like Tanvi from Peppermint or Stacy K. Floral. These women who've owned businesses longer than myself and have, been successful are people that I can really look up to and ask opinion and get great mentoring advice from them. They're just also, we kind of help each other in growing our business. It's about building community. And I think that has also stuck with me since I started my company.
And after your grand opening event at the Arbor Loft, you had a very special visitor, the mayor and chief of staff and our deputy commissioner of neighborhood and business development. What did that mean for you? What was it like having them in your space and taking them around downtown?
It was just such an honor, because when you are growing up, I'm from Chilai, I remember watching the mayor on the news and always wondering if I'd have the opportunity to meet these wonderful people also making such a difference in the market. So being able to meet everyone and show them around and for them to know me and interested in hearing my story was so flattering, and it made me feel so good knowing that, I've accomplished this. Who knows what I can accomplish in the next 5 years.
And so you're also a teacher and a mentor, and to your student and your employees. What do you tell them is most important about being a successful business owner?
So, as you did mention, I'm an adjunct professor at SUNY Brockport. I've taken some time off as well, again, because the Arbor Loft is a little overwhelming. But my students ask me all of the time, Miss Agathi, what makes you successful? What is it? What's the big secret?
Right.
And my answer is always the same. As long as you're kind and respectful to everyone around you, no matter what the circumstance, you will always be the biggest success. That's my biggest advice.
What do you tell other maybe aspiring entrepreneurs who are thinking about moving into downtown Rochester? What do you tell them about that?
Downtown Rochester is really on the cusp of doing such amazing things. I mean, we're growing, we're developing new businesses, new restaurants, new social, environments. It's really a great place to learn, to develop, to grow, and I think it's a really great idea to not only be a part of downtown Rochester, but I'm always giving people advice about starting their own businesses. I think there should be more of us. The more, the merrier.
And finally, you have a great event coming up, inviting all the brides-to-be to the Arbor Loft. You want to tell us about that?
Yes, it's coming up on October 27th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Arbor Loft. It's our little evening reception, so it's a glimpse to all of the brides and grooms out there that want to attend the Arbor Loft to come and see our vendors, the people that we have developed relationships with, whether it be our florists, our DJs, our photographers, videographers, anyone that's interested in coming to just take a look at the space, introduce themselves to our vendors, again, mingle, network, that's what it's about, and meet me, because a difference between another event space and mine is I'm with you along the way. I'm there from beginning to end. There's not a salesperson and then an event planner. There's me, there's my team. So it's a great experience. I think an opportunity to meet me and to just learn a little bit more about how it all became.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. Again, the Arbor Loft is located at 17 Pitkin Street in downtown Rochester. And for more information, you can visit thearborloft.com or send an email, info@agathi.co. Thanks for joining us on this edition of CityWise. I'm Tiana Stevens, and we'll see you next week.